Okay, so Dave Canales finally said he's going to play the starters. He said he's also going to let them go through the pre-game ritual. So I'm still staying on the side that he's not playing the starters. But if you want a full breakdown, you came to the right place. It's time for roll coverage with your host, Nick, right now.
Hey, I thought it was all over.
Nope. They roll coverage. Good morning.
Good morning.
Felt great to just kind of get a full mock for the guys of a Wednesday with featuring first and second down. A Thursday, I know it's not quite Wednesday, Thursday, but for us it is. Thursday, getting the third down calls, and then for a Friday to start working into the red zone, to get all those different calls, to feel the prep of the week, feel the flow of it, right? And trying to recapture our work ethic on Wednesday, and then Thursday, you know, it's a high-speed day, a lot of running, a lot of third down stuff, and today with the red zone, just making sure we're sharp with that. So that was really cool for the staff to go through it, the players to know what to expect. So a great run through of that. Had a really focused group today. A lot of guys know how important this game is, you know, for the evaluation process. And so I could feel that. I could sense that, and it's exactly right. It's exactly what I would hope they would be at mentally, you know, going into this opportunity for a lot of them, you know. So it was great. We finished off the practice and, you know, kind of just at the end told them, guys, you're ready. You're ready to play. Physically, we're ready to play. We got all of our scheme and everything, you know, and now at this point, it's about just figuring out who we are and becoming us.
Hell yeah, dude. Dave is building something here, but it's going to take a while. I know that this is just a few days before the cut down date on the 27th, so there's a lot of guys that are going to be going home and pursuing their NFL dreams at another time. But for the 53 that make this roster, I'm super excited about it. I still remain on the camp that I don't believe Bryce will play a single snap. I think that he's going to try and hold him out till week one, say, you know, the offensive line, there's an issue here, there's an issue there. We decided to not play him, or hey, we decided to play Dalton for a few series. But again, I could also resign myself to the fact that, hey, he goes out there, does a series, and then sits down. But that better be a solid series. I better see that because we held him back for so long. I need to see real improvement. But like he said, we're just getting there. We still got a few more days before we start getting into real football.
Does that mean that the starters will play on?
That's my hope. My hope is to get the starters out there early in the game, get them some exposure, and the importance of it to me is how valuable the night before prep is. Waking up in the morning, we have a 1 o'clock kick. We got a lot of those this year. So just the body readiness, you know, the plan behind, you know, this camp was to practice early so that we can have that readiness going into this season where most of our kicks are 1 o'clock, except for, you know, a couple of out of time zone things. And of course we go to Germany. But this is a great opportunity to go through their pregame routines with each other, to have the communications, you know, on the sidelines as we go into, you know, the first drive there, and just gather information, talk. This is how it'll feel like. So I love this opportunity for the guys, and they're excited about it.
Again, he hopes, and again, he keeps iterating. If you've seen the breakdowns here on Roll Coverage with me, your host, Nick, you would have known that. He said, man, I want to play them, but like, we'll see. And I feel like, hey, it's just not going to happen. If it's going to happen, it would have happened by now. And I just don't feel like putting him out there for a single series is worth the injury risk at all. Like, if that's what you're trying to avoid, doing it for one series as opposed to 5 series, yes, obviously one is less than 5, obviously. But at the same time, we need to see something. We're not sold on it as fans. Vegas isn't sold on this offense. So I need to see what you guys are seeing. Maybe you're hiding something like a Jatavian Sanders, which I would love, because I think he can be a really great red zone threat. He just needs to increase his ability to be a great blocker. And then, of course, we got Jonathan Brooks coming off injury. There's so much in flux, and I'm so excited for this team. This Bills game, though, is going to be a tough one. Going to be a tough one.
We can see Diontae out there. And
Yeah.
It seemed like Tommy was kind of holding his right hamstring after some drills.
Yeah.
Could you give us updates on those things?
Yeah, sure. Diontae he felt sick. So we just wanted to make sure we quarantine him a little bit just to make sure he doesn't spread whatever he's got going through. And then on top of that, just for him, just to get him some rest, get him some recovery. And then we'll go, you know, day by day to figure out if he's going to feel good enough to go on Saturday.
Have you decided whether one series or 2 series for the starters, or we just go based on field?
Yeah, on field, just depends on how much work we get. You know, I'd love to get them sweaty. I'd love to get them the full work of coming, play in and play out, you know, so we'll have to play that part by ear.
Any starters you plan to sit, though, or you hope all starters?
I hope all starters are playing. So as of now, Tommy, just real quick, you asked about Tommy. So we have him on a pitch count for these practices. We're ramping him back up. So this is just kind of normal soreness. This is his 3rd day in a row. And for Tommy, of course, you know, like with an injury, you know, when anything starts to feel a little bit different, you know, it's concerning, you know, and I can feel that about him, you know, just there in the practice. And we're like, this is good. We've gotten great work with him for 3 days. You know, we felt good about it. We didn't need him to finish the rest of practice today.
I still think that the use of the word hope is something that is going to be his get out of jail free card. He's going to let these guys go through the pregame. He'll probably mark a bunch of people as game time decision or whatever that may be. Again, we don't have the injury report out yet, but it should be out soon. I'm expecting him to be like, hey, man, let them go through like they're going to play. And then he decides, nope, I'm going to let these other guys play instead. That's my thought process. Again, if you've been protecting him this long and you were so worried about injury, why now? You're literally 1 game away from just being able to play him in week 1. Just let him sit if that was your concern. Again, I don't know why that's your concern because it's the NFL and you need to go out there and play games, not duck, opportunity. But obviously the preseason's a little bit different. The preseason is more of where we're finding fringe guys to make the roster as opposed to those solid, probably 30, 36 guys on that roster.
There was Adam had a calf wrap. Is he dealing with something muscular now?
He just got kicked in the leg during the joint practice, and so he's just been managing that for the last couple of days. So just keeping that thing warm, keeping it compact, but he looked great out there today.
When it comes to the preparation for this game, is it harder knowing you have a lot of tough decisions to make next week and wanting to get guys a lot of reps, so they can get evaluated before next week?
Absolutely. And again, they're going to get plenty of opportunities in this game. A lot of the guys that we're thinking about and really focused on, they have a great opportunity. Just speaking to that, I can feel that. I can feel that from them. I can feel the just the importance of the moment, which I talked about, and so just really regarding that highly, getting the guys prepared, with this game plan so they can put their best foot forward is huge. Okay, so you guys know I've done a breakdown on every single Dave Canales press conference right here on Roll Coverage, including going back to my 9-part Who is Dave Canales mini-series before he was hired, and obviously as we were going into the initial hiring, post-hiring and all that. But this just seems off. There's obviously something bothering him. There's something that he's kind of hiding behind, whether or not it's his true intentions with playing starters or not playing starters for that matter. There's a lot of opportunity when it comes to this team. I just feel like Dave needs a few years to be able to really show us the fruits of that labor. So I really need, like I've said, and will continue to say, I need 6 wins from Dave Canales in order to basically secure his job. I feel like 4 wins, 3 wins is a... hey, man, we're at least going to kick the tires on some other people. So that's my thought process. Of course, Tepper doesn't really care about firing coaches. He fired Frank Reich last year after 11 games. Of course, very subpar start regardless. And then, of course, firing the Charlotte FC manager twice. And twice in 2 years. So it's just crazy.
Dave, I think I saw Leon Washington out there, BJ Daniels. Are those guys part of your fellowship program?
Yes, they are, and so they've done a fantastic job. Leon's flying all over the field. BJ, came to us from South Florida, and just a guy I have history with, and a guy that we've talked for years to say, hey, if this is something you want to do, these are exactly the right guys that I want. He's got quarterback background, wide receiver background, really a sharp guy, great communicator. He's even got like a little speaking engagement, a speaking career, in the development right now. So I just love what he's about. I see big things for him in his future, from a coaching standpoint. I wanted him to feel the workload, feel the hours of commitment it takes to throw a good practice, to prep the players, So I was so glad to have those guys there, especially because culturally they know what we're looking for, the energy, right? Just the love, the development of our players, the investment. So awesome dudes.
Is BJ just working with the passing game? Is he working with wide receivers, quarterbacks?
He's been working with quarterbacks, wide receivers. He and I have had a ton of conversations. It's been just a part of getting him exposure to what all these conversations look like.
Josh was out there today in uniform and
Yeah.
pass sets. How encouraging is that? And was he activated from PUB?
Really encouraged, not activated yet, but really encouraged by his movement, his athleticism, his power, all the things we saw, the reason he's here. He looks like he's trending in the right direction, but again, it's like now it's a matter of volume, just continuing to push the volume of what he can handle. So I was really excited, during special teams period, I looked over there and Joe Gilbert was working with him and he's punching the bag. Joe had a great report after practice about where he's at.
Dave, you mentioned that the offense is in, or everything's in. Now it's about kind of finding out who the team is.
Yeah.
What are the markers you look for? And in your experience, how long does it usually kind of take to find that identity, so to speak?
I'm looking for confidence and speed of play. So I know we're in our wheelhouse when our guys, they get up to the line fast. They come off the ball fast. They finish the plays. All of those things come alive when I know they're really focused and know exactly what they're doing. That's what's going to tell us who we are and what we can execute. As far as a timeline, there isn't one. It's really just taking this process as we go, keeping our eyes and ears open to the different concepts on both sides of the ball, really that look like us. So really no timeline, but I know we will continue to build things progressively as we go throughout the season.
That should be Dave Canales' catch line for the season because we have so many guys coming off the injuries. Like I've said, Brooks, and what do we have, 36 sitting out the last game? Obviously not all injuries, but Dalton's nursing. There's so much going on with this team. Dave has a lot on his plate. Of course, Yash looks great when he's out there, of course. And the injury bug just keeps biting. So we need to figure out some some spray repellent or something for this injury bug. I'm not really sure what we can do. Maybe it's getting this dude a glass of water because, he is kind of parched, licking his lips every 15 to 20 seconds. I call it the vitamin deficiency, but regardless, he's obviously trying to build something. And I love what he said about the speed play. The reason why I say that is because for his scheme, guys really have to know what's going on with everybody. They have to be more cerebral. It's supposed to be pulled from the McVay and the Pete Carroll system. Run system, coming from McVay, pass game coming from Carroll. Obviously, he's adopted a bunch of philosophies from a bunch of different places, but it's whether or not it can culminate with this team this year with the roster that you built. So we're going to find out here soon. We're 2 weeks away from the start of the season against the Saints, and I'm super excited for that game. It better be a dub, because if not, boy, Panthers Twitter is going to be on fire.
Was that kind of your thought process all along to play starters in the last game, or did it just come up the last week? You felt they needed some work, or what?
Honestly, it was really just about the grasp of the system, going back to that, talking about the confident play, and I was open to playing them in the first one. I was open to playing in the second one. We had that great week of work against the Jets, and we had a couple guys we knew we were going to get back this week. So it was like, why don't we wait another week to get a stronger group to put out there, But again, watching the practices, watching those first couple of games and seeing, okay, it feels like we have a great grasp of what we're doing now so that we can go out there and be confident. I didn't want to go out there and just kind of stumble around stuff as we're still figuring out our schemes and all that.
I feel that Dave wants us to be prepared. He wants to put good film out there for not only himself, but the players as well. There's going to be a lot of flux with this team. Again, with the injuries, having to sub guys in and out, I think we're going to see a bunch of different opportunities for guys to really excel, and in a way that benefits both offense and defense. So that's a whole other side of this as well. Defense, obviously, is retained staff. We have Evero giving us a great chance to build for the future, but at the same time, we're not also sure if Evero is going to be here next year. So that could be a whole other cog in the wheel thinking about next year and what's going to happen there. Dave really probably hasn't gotten that far because he's just focused on the game ahead, but that's something to keep in the back of our minds, guys. That's a very big possibility depending on how this defense plays.
Dave, do you expect Andy Dalton to get time tomorrow?
I would hope so. I would hope so. Andy's the one that's outside of the other group, that's one we really do have to talk about tonight, talk about tomorrow, and really see what the smartest thing to do for the Panthers is in regards to Andy. I would love to see him play. I would love to see Andy, be able to, distribute the ball out there so we can really evaluate the wideouts, tight ends, the different positions out there. So, he'll be really probably a day-to-day decision there.
Do you have more of a rep count for Bryce versus a series count?
I don't know that. I certainly wouldn't shut him down in the middle of a drive that's going well. You'd love to just keep the momentum and just get the guys working. Getting tired and working is so important because that's where the focus is at a premium, So really looking to try to get them some good work.
Xavier Woods back on the field today. Is he a guy that's also day-to-day as well?
Yeah, day-to-day with Xavier. So glad to see him back in uniform, going through his individual period. He looks great. He's running close to his top speeds right now, so really hopeful for him.
Man, he keeps saying that day-to-day thing that I said he was going to do earlier. Man, I'm really interested to see who's going to be playing in this Bills game, man. Got a really big vested interest for some reason.
Obviously, you and Tracy work really tightly together.
Yeah.
That history. How comfortable do you guys feel with this new kickoff situation going into this third preseason game, this kind of last dress rehearsal for that?
As comfortable as you could right now, but again, the question mark is, what schemes are teams kind of holding back on from the preseason? Is everyone kind of just giving a vanilla kickoff coverage? People can move, they can move spots around, in your assignments. It gets harder to block those things, the returns, right? Are people setting up other returns, counters, reverses, who knows? There's all kinds of cool things that can come out, that can happen in this phase. So really going into it with feeling like we got a good base starting point, but also just excited to kind of see where it goes. Bless you.
Bless you.
Dave, what'd you think about the playlist out there today?
Solid. Had a little alternative rock going, so good mix, for a Friday. Again, just like making sure that the guys have a little hand in it, a little involvement, so they take requests. And so for me, it's just like I always want things to be upbeat and rolling, like that. And so I was happy to hear a little mix.
Players have input in the.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Coaches?
That is what we need. We need to see a Dave Canales playlist and a one where the players pick. They should do it every week and put out a playlist. You know what? I'm going to clip this. At Panthers, I'm going to make sure to tag you guys. Why aren't we getting a weekly playlist by our Carolina Panthers? That would be dope. Put it out on Spotify, Apple Music, and all that, and then fans would be able to go in there and listen to what the team is listening to that week. If you do this, I want credit, okay? That's all I'm asking.
I think so. I haven't really, thrown any requests out there, but I'm pretty sure the coaches have, they had a green light to. So if they didn't know, they know now. They got a chance to affect the playlist.
That's why we asked the question.
Yeah.
So we know there's a lot of Bob Marley. That's the Dave Canales.
That's right. If you're hearing Hawaiian reggae, you're hearing, Bob Marley, and then the flip, my other side is if you're hearing, some good like David Guetta, Steve Aoki, Deoro, so a little something with a little more beat, to it, bringing up the tempo of it. So then it's coming from. That's part of my playlist.
Okay, what is the over-under on how many raves Dave has already been to? I'm going to put it at 1.5, okay? I'm still going to take the over because I think it's probably 3. Could be 0. I don't know if they have a whole lot of raves in Southern California. I mean, I'm assuming they do. But he was a busy guy. He was a coach. He was going out and doing a bunch of stuff like that. I know Tampa's got great ones. Shout out Ebor. I've seen Board down there. We've seen some good acts.
Yes, thank you.
Good? Thank you.
Yeah, I did.
They pull me back in.
I hate to take us back to football after all the fun, but just everyone's mentioned like having 3 really starting safeties between Xavier and Jordan Fuller.
Yeah.
Especially with Scott and Fuller coming from, they've been in the system before.
Yeah.
Have you noticed maybe an ease of transition with the 2 of those because of that?
Absolutely, and so it's not just that safety group; it's how they communicate and get the nickel tied into all the things. Get the safeties; they're all talking back there on the back half, and all the adjustments that they go through. It's great for the younger guys. It's great for me, really learning the system and learning the different, adjustments and calls that happen. And so that's been really great for our team, just the education of this system as we build from it. And again, for Xavier, who was in the system last year, but for Xavier to be able to, like, as he's missed time at practice, to still be able to be back there and have those conversations with those guys. Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Dave. Obviously, he tried to jet on out of there, and they had to make sure to keep him there for one final question, and I'm glad they did. That nickel's going to be an interesting one. Most people believe Shaw Smith-Wade is going to be in that spot. And yes, just in case you don't know, everybody's been pronouncing it Shaw Smith-Wade. So instead of Chow, which is what I was doing, but obviously that's wrong. This team is going to obviously show us a lot here in this Bills game. We're going to know Dave Canales' philosophy, whether or not he's been bluffing like I think he has been on this playing the starters thing. But overall, this is kind of what Dave Canales does. He goes out there, delivers good questions and everything like that. Did he kind of look like he was trying to dodge that last question? Of course, he had no idea it was about the safeties. But at the same time, this was a solid 11-plus minute press conference. I hope you enjoyed absolutely every minute of it right here on Roll Coverage, home of the press conference breakdown. My name is Nick, the host, and I hope to see you again soon on the next one. Peace.